I'm GT Hill with Nyansa. That's one way to pronounce it. Naya, NSA is another one you're welcome to use. So I actually tweeted this the other day that it's an interesting transition that we've had. I used to work for Ruckus, and you guys would come out and listen to everybody talk about range and coverage and speeds and feeds, and this one's a little bit different. This whole analytics thing is kind of taking off, and a lot of people are talking about it. You guys, I'm kind of curious, it's been pretty great, right? I didn't get to watch a few of them, but it's quite different than what I saw even just a year ago. So we're going to continue to talk about that. For those of you that don't know, Nyansa, as was said earlier, we kind of came out of stealth April of last year. Prior to that, Anand and his team were building the product, and since then we've had very humbling success. It's been a really fun ride. We've got a lot of great logos that we can't put up on the screen because they don't let us, but we've done really well. But the product in analytics is still really kind of in its toddler stage. What we're going to see years from now is something that is quite different than today, and Anand will be able to talk about that. So this is just kind of a question. I don't think about network analytics so much when you answer this, but just think about analytics in general. How has it changed your personal workflow? Personally, how you operate as a human? And I want you guys to tell me, how has it changed it? Can you think of any examples? No, stop thinking about the network, man. Think like, is analytics, just analytics as a technology, used in anything else that you use daily?
Sure. Amazon tells me what I want.
Okay. Amazon's a great example of an analytics platform. That's a bunch of what they do. Anything else?
Google does it with their ads.
Google Ads, okay.
Facebook, Twitter, all of those guys.
What about YouTube? You guys anybody ever been on a YouTube kind of, I just wanted to watch one video 3 hours later, you watched 30 or 40?
This guy has got this missile silo, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's funny because YouTube has analytics on that. So YouTube actually gives more points if you keep people watching other videos. If you keep them on platform, they actually give you higher rating for your own video because that's the kind of thing that they do. So analytics is one of those things that I'm going to turn it over to Anand Srinivas, who's our CTO. But just to think about, again, it's important for you to think about analytics not as a network technology, because it's a lot easier to start understanding the idea of analytics in your life and then moving on to something that would apply to your workflow in your IT organization. So I'll be back in a little bit, but Anand, I'll let you click from here.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so, thanks for all those answers. And that's pretty much the basic point, which is that the only place where analytics has actually made a difference in people's daily workflows or daily lives has been in the consumer space, right? So all the examples that you guys talked about, whether it's Netflix and the recommendation engine that they have underneath, sort of recommending movies to you, whether it's Google telling you, hey, you're going to be late for your meeting unless you leave right now because I've looked at traffic patterns over the past and I predict that you're going to be late depending on the time and the destination. Whether it's Amazon telling you, things that you should buy based on what you've bought before. And so, to GT's point, analytics, the way you guys should think about it, or the way we all should think about it, at least to this point, is that where it's sort of effective and where it's being useful has been in that consumer space where your daily workflow has actually changed because of it, right? So now, rather than just getting on the road and driving, you might actually check your phone and see what's going on with Google. Now, rather than rewatching, let's say, Terminator 2 over and over and over again, Netflix might tell you, oh, because you like Terminator 2, you might like, I don't know, The Matrix or something, right? And so, yeah, so in general, as I kind of go through this and I tie this back into networking, and I'm sure a lot of the companies that have come here already have tried to tie this to networking as well, one of the things I want to try and come back to is whatever we're trying to say for networking analytics or network analytics, is that going to change your daily workflow when it comes to networking and IT, right? Is it actually going to change the way you do things and make your existing workflows more efficient, also enable new proactive workflows as well that weren't possible before. And that's sort of the test that you should apply. So, so bringing this to networking, I don't know why that, whoa. For some reason, that's not showing up on the left there, but those should be a picture of some iPhones and some devices where it says BYOD user devices. But there's a lot of data in networking, right, in general, right? If you look at enterprise access networks, where people actually connect from, right, which is sort of what we all look for here, you have users generating data, so you have actual network traffic from users. You have synthetic test data, right? So whether these are agents on clients. So this is just trying to be general. Like, we don't take in all of this data today. But just from a general perspective, you have actual clients generating real network data. You have companies which sell you additional hardware that do synthetic testing and that generate additional data from whether it's the wireless or wired. From your infrastructure, you have data, right? All of that data coming in via SNMP or AMON or any of these protocols from the infrastructure, NetFlow, all of that. That's data you can process and kind of look at. There's log data from all these network elements as well. There is flow data from your routers, so JFlow, SFlow, NetFlow, all that stuff. You can do ping and trace route tests to check sort of paths over the internet and look at that data as well. And then finally, you have data from the application servers themselves. So if you think Skype for Business, Cisco UCM, applications like that, there's actually data where they can give you call quality data from the app server itself. Other applications sort of have server or API data like this as well. And then you also have log data from those servers too. So there's all of this raw data. And really, at the end of the day, analytics is all about what do you do with this? Everything starts from raw data. We're in the era of quote unquote big data today. And it's really what you do with this data. And again, sort of tying back to the last point that I made, how that data, after it's munged and after it's presented to you, or analyzed and finally presented back to you, how is that going to change your actual workflow from your day-to-day job as network engineers, network ops, service desk, IT executives? So, by the way, just feel free to jump in and interrupt me in terms of questions or anything like that, or comments. So let me just talk about from a broad sense of what people are doing with this data today, right? So you think about sort of the basic monitoring products or synthetic testing or element management system, network management systems. You think of products that take data and do deep packet inspection on them and give you protocol analysis. What's sort of the basic level of what do they do with this raw data? So at the most fundamental level, what they do is they take the data, get metrics from the data, and graph those metrics. And then for each of those metrics that's there, you can apply thresholds, and you can say, look, if this metric reaches this point, send me an alert, right? Show me all these metrics, give it to me over a week, give it to me over a day, et cetera, right? That's sort of the fundamental, what I call that is sort of monitoring in general, metric or monitoring. And you sort of ask yourself, again, sort of going back, is that like Netflix? Is that like Google? Is that like Amazon, right? And it's not, right? It's just showing you the raw data, right? It's a starting point, right? It's better than going and using CLI to try and get some of this data, but it's not analytics. It's not fundamentally changing workflows. There's products out there that sort of do more advanced stuff than this, right? They take that data, that raw data, but now they can do things like show you heat maps of where coverage is good and things like that. They can show you what network topology looks like. There are products that even take the log data. They'll index it for you. So you can search for keywords. And you can query things efficiently. There are products out there that will take this data and you can visualize what it looks like Tableau and things like that, right? Again, now we're starting to get somewhere with this data, right? So this is better than the previous, just basic monitoring. Is it still analytics? That's where I'll talk to you why it's not, right? But it's definitely getting to a better place, right? But so there's visualization, queryability, that kind of thing. But it's not yet analytics. And sort of, what's that dividing line between what makes it analytics versus, and what's going to change your workflows. And workflow is going to be the word of the day, I think. And we'll sort of keep getting back to it and show you guys in the product as well how we sort of try and enable that. So, what is analytics? What is that dividing line, right? And so the way sort of we put it out there is that analytics is going to help you efficiently answer complicated questions that you have, right? So a complicated question that you probably face in your daily lives is, this person is complaining about a problem, right? Is that a client issue or is it a network issue, right? Where that guy's complaining from, right? You guys probably have issues where the 5th floor of building 5 is having, problems in one way or the other, whether it's, slow access to applications or whether it's connectivity issues or whatever. So what does user experience look like on the 5th floor of building 5 or building 4? And what is actually going on? What can I do about it, right? That's another complex question. But in each of these cases, you're coming in with the question and you're asking the analytic solution, right, to answer that question in a very efficient way without having to sift through raw data, go through CLI, that kind of thing, right? So that's part one, right? Make your existing workflows more efficient in terms of answering the complex questions that you guys have. The second thing is you don't even have a question, right? So this is the equivalent of the Netflix example or Amazon or whatever. I don't know, you recommend me what I should be looking at. Give me some starting points. Right? Give me some movies that you think I should watch based on what I've watched in the past. Give me some videos, about nuclear missile silos that I can watch based on things that I've seen in the past, and so on. Right? So the networking equivalent is, look, there's all this raw data. My campus is really big, or I'm a global enterprise. I have hundreds of and potentially thousands of sites across the world. Where should I even start? And what is an action that I can take that is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck in terms of proactively improving user experience, right? And we'll sort of talk about that as well. As you don't have a question, but where should you start? Where are some starting points that you can begin with? And then finally, with anything with analytics, you have to have a feedback mechanism. You have to have a way of verifying whether what you did actually worked. Right? And tracking that over time to make sure that maybe something you fixed today worked for today, but maybe it screws up tomorrow or day after. Or just in general, having that mechanism to say, no, the action that you recommended me, that was BS, and that doesn't make any sense for my environment. Right? But whatever it is, there's got to be this side of it.